Welcome back, family. I'm Deborah, and this is Family Still Matters. Today, I want to talk about a recent interview Jennifer Lopez did with Howard Stern, where she said something that caught a lot of people's attention. She said she's never truly been loved by any man because the men she's been with are not capable of love. Now, I want to make this clear. This isn't about gossip or coming at Jennifer. Jennifer is just the example. This is about the mindset and the spiritual condition behind statements like that. Because there's a powerful lesson here for every woman who's ever felt unloved or blamed others for their heartache or heartbreak. Before we get into the lesson, let's look at some facts. Jennifer Lopez has been married 4 times. She was married in 1997, and that marriage lasted less than a year. She was married in 2001, and that marriage was about a year and a half. She was married in 2004, and that one lasted the longest, about 10 years. And most recently, she married in 2022, Ben Affleck. That marriage reportedly ended in 2025, which was less than 2 years later. In between those marriages, she's had several serious relationships with Sean Diddy Combs, Casper Smart, Alexander Rodriguez, and others. That's a long list. But the most consistent part of that list is her. She's the common denominator in every one of those relationships. At some point, when you've had that many relationships that end the same way, in pain or brokenness, it's time to stop blaming everyone else and start asking, what's going on inside of me? My mother used to always say, if you keep having the same problem and you're the common factor, you need to start looking at yourself and not other people. So what is going on inside of you, Jennifer Lopez, and women like her? What's going on inside of you? In that same interview, Jennifer said something honest. She admitted, I didn't love myself. That right there is the real truth. Because when you don't love yourself, you start to confuse attention with affection and desire with devotion. You accept what looks like love, but isn't rooted in God's design for love, which is patient, sacrificial, and consistent. And when those relationships fall apart, it's easy to say they weren't capable. But what's harder to say is, I wasn't ready. I wasn't healed. I wasn't whole. And because I didn't value myself the way God does, I kept choosing people who didn't value me either. That's not a Hollywood problem. That's a human problem. What Jennifer's story really shows us is this. When love isn't rooted in God, it can't sustain itself. You can have all the rings, all the money, all the houses, and still feel empty inside. Because true love doesn't start with another person. It starts with God. Until you know how deeply God loves you, you'll keep searching for that love in people who can't give it. And you'll call that fate or bad luck when really it's a reflection of spiritual disconnection. We have too many women today chasing love instead of cultivating it. They're waiting for a man to validate them when God already affirmed them before the foundation of the world. Let's be real. We can't fix what we can't face. When you keep attracting the same kind of heartache, that's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. And patterns don't break until you pause and heal. That's where prayer, fasting, and spiritual maturity come in. It's not just about saying, Lord, send me someone who will love me right. It's about saying, Lord, help me to become someone who receives love right. Because if you don't love yourself, you'll sabotage every opportunity to be loved properly. So many women today are chasing relationships like trophies, trying to prove something to the world, to their ex, or to themselves. But here's the truth. If you don't have peace when you're single, you won't have peace when you're married. Marriage magnifies what's already in you. It doesn't erase it. And the saddest part about Jennifer's statement isn't that she's been unloved. It's that she still doesn't realize love starts with God, not men. When you skip that foundation, you'll keep rebuilding on broken ground. So I want every woman watching this to ask herself 3 questions. 1, do I love myself the way God loves me? 2, am I still blaming others for what my healing should fix? 3, have I made peace with my past before trying to start something new? If you can't answer these questions truthfully, it's time to pause. Because your next relationship will only be as healthy as your relationship with yourself and with God. Jennifer Lopez's story is not unique, it's just public. But it's a reminder that even with fame, beauty, and success, you can still miss the mark if you haven't learned to love yourself first. When you love yourself through the lenses of God's truth, you stop chasing validation and start attracting wholeness. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. That's Mark 12:31. You cannot pour out love you don't possess, and you can't attract what you don't embody. Thanks for joining me on Family Still Matters. If this message spoke to you, take a moment this week to ask God to show you the parts of yourself that need healing. Because when you learn to love yourself through His eyes, you'll never have to beg another human being to do what only God can. See you next time. May God continue to richly bless you and your family. Thank you for listening.